Wo ist die Frontkamera? Okay. Hello everybody. I'm starting a stream in a second. Let me see if I can see it here. Fucking hell, sorry. Where are they? Oh. Okay. End of audio. So let me check. Okay, I'm maybe not the most professional guy on the planet doing live streams. Why is the quality so poor? Maybe that's what we get. Maybe that looks pretty good on my mobile phone. Okay, welcome to Academy of Tone 247, straight from the beautiful island of Jamaica. I want to share a couple of, thoughts and topics that are going on my head, in my head, when doing a vacation after something like the NAMM show, which is kind of the summit of the guitar events, and we strive to work towards the summit and try to be ready with whatever we can do. So there's tons of work to do. Talking about work to do, there's a guy just next to us making some noise. It was so nice and beautiful all day, and now he starts to use whatever, the chainsaw. I have no clue. Anyway, let me see, where's the chat, so I can see what's going on. Hier gibt es nichts zu sehen. Chat wiederherstellen. Aha, I can see you guys. Let me see if I can write hello in the chat. And that works. Okay, my beautiful setup is simple. There's my iPhone and there's my laptop. Today, I'm not sure if I like this kind of noise, but let's see what we can do. What did we achieve at NAMM? Just a very brief recap on the things that happened after NAMM, which you couldn't see. At NAMM I had a beautiful video shoot with Andy Timmons, so there will be a full episode. You have seen the one that I have done with Eric Steckel, and there will be another one with Jude Gold, which I was shooting after NAMM. Jude Gold, the guitar player in Jefferson Starship. Killer player, killer interview. I think we did a full 2 hours or even more. So it was a great interview there. And one thing that I actually did miss, which I found out afterwards, is that Tim Pierce, who came to the booth and gave me a lot of compliments on the first day for my solo record Music, actually tried to call me the Saturday before I was leaving, that he had some free time, and I didn't see it because I switched off the phone because I was afraid of having the roaming fees being too high, so I was using my American SIM card and missed this opportunity. So anyway, this will be postponed for for a Tim Pierce meeting, and probably one day we both will be together in front of a camera for you guys. So all in all, I had a great time at NAMM, meeting all the people, and even sometimes more important after NAMM, where I have some time to meet people in a deeper environment, or in a situation where I have time to dive in deeper and talk with the guys on a different level than just at the show, where everything is more hectic and where we have tons of things going on, and there is, certain things are happening at the show and other things are happening after the show. So stay tuned for more to come from the show and after the show. On the other hand, I have to admit, and I'm proud of it too, that I have not even touched a guitar over a week, because I'm still here with my travel strap kit, which is a soft bag that fits in every overhead compartment, and the trick is put your neck in an X shirt, long sleeve, and then you have the body, and all you need is to take off the plate and the 4 screws. And what I did is, I do have a screwdriver, but sometimes they are forbidden to take on the plane. So therefore I have 2 options. One is my good old Roland screwdriver that fits perfectly into this, or you have a coin and you use just that groove that would go into like a 1 cent coin, and then you don't need a screwdriver, because sometimes the airlines take this away from you, because this could be used as a weapon as well. This time I was lucky, so I did bring my screwdriver, and this is only when doing hand luggage. So officially I can confess having not played a guitar in over a week. And the good aspect about that is that it will give me fresh ideas the moment when I put the instrument back together tonight, tomorrow, and can enjoy a fresh connection with the instrument. I will play different things, I'm very sure. Cool. So let me see if anything is good on the stream. So Stevie Gallus, actually this is live, not pre-recorded. Hello from Berlin, the son of Jamaica, yeah. How is the quality? Is there anything I should improve, or can we live with what we've got? I can see 1 week without a guitar, unthinkable. Hey guys, it is possible. You just have some quality time with hanging on the beach, thinking, going swimming and doing nothing. Or try to do some yoga exercise and be the fun for the locals. I mean, me and my girlfriend have done something like that on the beach, and the Jamaican guys go and think, oh yeah man, and they have a good time seeing us doing some exercise and stretch. Please show us the view to the beach. I can do that. I actually have pre-recorded a few little videos which I can show you guys. Here to download. There is the beach, and here we can see the beach. This was recorded yesterday. Wait a minute. By the way, this is AMPX case. It's a very good laptop stand as well. So, who needs a guitar when you can have this? And there are some nice spots to swim along the beach. More or less on this corner you can see this. There's a little bit of seagrass on the lower, on the darker spots, but it's all super clean water. So yeah, something you can really enjoy. And as you can see, what's even more important is that you have shade. Like there are trees, and I don't want to get sunburned or anything like that. So, okay, me in the picture. Yeah, on the side where we are actually currently at, there is no big tourism, since it actually doesn't have that many big beaches, and it has a big advantage, which means we are not in the tourist area, even though we are completely tourists, and of course we look like tourists, and this is what we are doing. So you have to be a bit careful when you make the deals. They try to cheat you, they give you the tourist price, but we are learning, like you buy only one fruit at one dealer, and then they can't do the extra expensive package deals. So you do one by one. Buy your tomatoes here and buy your papayas there, and whatever you need, go to another place. So that's the beach. Talking about what it's like over here. This is the long drive. Funny thing, which is English style driving on the left side, as you can see. And of course it's super green here, but the pattern here is more like there's an hour of rain during the night, or maybe in the morning, but over a week we didn't have any day that we couldn't go out. So it was, every day was kind of nice, and the weather is always sunny, and it's always a little cloudy, and it's always the same temperature, 27 degrees, in the shade, in the sun, in the sea, wherever you go, and a little bit humid. Yeah, so this is what it's looking here like. Yeah, going across the coastline. There's more, you know, we can go and try. And this, the famous holes in the street, Schlagloch for the Germans. It's, you have to watch it, especially because when you have a small rental car like we do. And so, okay, you get a picture of this. One more little thing I wanted to show you is when you go to town, this is also quite some experience. Look at this. So, tons of cars, tons of people, tons of holes, and little shops. Yeah. It is an experience. Okay, so far a little bit of the scenery that we have here. Let me see the stream. I'll be back. Okay. Yes, they do Rittersport rum here. Actually, when I was in the USA, I could see Rittersport all over the place. But guess what? $6. $6 for one Rittersport. If you buy a Rittersport in Germany, it's 150 maybe, or 2 euros. So 3 times the money. So, I see people here. The reggae band. Yeah, and talking about the music, there are guys driving with their cars and they have speakers on the roof, and of course they try to be the loudest, and they try to win the most bass competition. Um, so yeah, that is that's the game over here, which is kind of funny because for me sometimes it's so loud it's actually hurting. When you pass by one of those clubs on the streets, it's like having down the window on the car. It's like, oh, I better close the window now because it's unbelievable loud. And but for them it's exciting and they love it. It's okay. Yeah, there is good fruits because they grow here naturally. You might see the palm trees. And that was the other funny story when I picked up the rental car and I was looking for all these little marks and damages on the rental car. Of course, there was a coconut mark on the tree of the roof of the rental car. So look on top of the car as well. And all the rest is also pretty much marked in a way. But who cares? I have the full coverage of the insurance. I don't care. But the smallest car, I will put out the AMP1 and be the loudest. Yeah. We can do this. Okay. So let me think about the topics that when you're laying on the beach and you really have some time, you start to think about things in a different way. And the thoughts about NAMM, it's kind of nice to reflect on them, and you like a lot of things that you have achieved, but then your brain, or at least my brain, goes into a new creativity mode and starts thinking about new things. And as I'm also just working a little bit, I'm taking care of some of the service. When you write an email to service at BluGuitar, I try to help Julian, who is back in the office. He was not at NAMM, he was always working, but he is working at the office at the AMPX, and we have our daily conversation about what's going on, what's the problem, and how to fix it. And so we are still, BluGuitar is still full on, but I try to step back a little bit, have that free time, have no internet on the beach, and then decompress. And when I decompress, when there's no input, my output producing starts immediately. I can't help it. It's like that, and I know myself for having this pattern for many years, and I have done this at least for the last 20-30 years, having a vacation after them and using that free time to rethink things and get fresh ideas. So one thing on having the service account that came up is, how can we help people that have some problems with the BluGuitar gear, or especially the gear in combination, and that's a MIDI topic. I know everybody hates MIDI, which is including myself, but the thing about MIDI is the first moment when something doesn't work, you believe, well, the MIDI 1 adapter is broken or the amp is broken, and I can tell you by our statistics that over 90% it's not the BluGuitar MIDI that doesn't do the job that is needed to work. It is the MIDI controller, and therefore I'm writing a clear strategy, a step-by-step process how to go through the things. So if you have a complex thing like MIDI, there is no way to freak because this will not help anybody. And I know you will do emotionally anyway, because it doesn't work, and then what is it? So I'm trying to make a new strategy, how to go step by step through all the steps, and then get clear results to define where the problem comes from and who to ask and what is needed. And I even think I will do an episode about that. I know it's not the most interesting topic, but it's one that I believe is needed, because otherwise you get pushed from the BluGuitar to the whatever line 6 guy, and the line 6 guy goes back to us, and the customer is the loser. And I try at least to do my best to give a new article and a new maybe live stream episode on this topic, probably together with Julian, because I think that's missing. We do have already about 3 or 4 MIDI articles on the BluGuitar knowledge base, and they are very, very handy, but they are more tailored to specific products like Line 6 or Roland products. The problem is also general, but the way we used it, it's clear examples of specific setups that we could solve, and I will try to make a general thing for that. Okay, that is on my head, and this is already something that I have started. On the other hand, I have done a huge list of things I could do on the live streams, and here I would like you guys to join in. Oh wow, the wind is getting stronger. So that's my live stream ideas. There's so many. Yeah, let me see the chats. The chat. How can I do this? I have this here, and maybe I can see the chat here. Ah, yeah. Okay, Gifi Moroda writes that he had no problem to connect the AMP1 with a Korg AX300G. I know there is many cases where it simply works, but the problem is when you are one of those exceptions where it does not work, then the complexity feels like you are fucked. And I totally get it, because I also had this myself. And nobody, even guys that program MIDI like Julian, know everything, and we all understand how it basically should work, but it's complex, and therefore we try to help you guys with these issues. So what I would like to talk about is what topics I would love to do on the Academy of Tone, and if you do have some, write them in the comments. Here's a few things that I took from the NAMM show. Marshall was releasing a few new products. Well, there's the pedals of their classic amps done in pedals. I think that's a good one for me. You know, I'm a Marshall guy anyhow, so let's try to get hands on those pedals once I'm back and see how good they are, what they can do and what they can not do. So that's one episode I have as an idea. Then there is the new Marshall modeled amps. That's worth an episode. There is also the Friedman Jose Arredondo modded tribute amp, which has a similar direction than the modded Marshall amps. Let's have a look on that one. Of course, they are brand new, they are out just right now, and it will take some time to get one over to Germany and then in my hands, which eventually will be the case, but it might take a couple of weeks, maybe months. So that's something I would definitely like to review and shed some light on it, and of course compare it with my amp collections and what I have done as modifications. And then if possible, I could also do an A/B of the Marshall modded and the Friedman to see how they actually compare A/B. That's an idea. Well, what's going on here in the chat? Okay, it's not only MIDI learn for AMP1, it's also MIDI learn for me. Yeah, now it works perfect. Yeah, see, using the same three the time. Okay, if you are still with me on the ideas of products to review, do you have any specific products that you have seen, like new or in general, that you would like me to review or have checked? That would be something I would be interested. I don't see everything that's coming out. I have 10 things going on at the same time, and of course I can hear and read the Marshall news, or I get some story from other people which makes me aware of that. But sometimes it's also, I miss things, which is very, very natural. So if you have something exciting I should talk about, let me know. Write it in the comments. Aha, I see other things. People Moroder, comparison of new, old nano cap versus other small single speaker boxes. Okay, that's actually a very good topic, because everybody knows that we are releasing, or have just shown, this new nano cap Neo Pro, and yeah, what is the difference? And we will still continue to use the traditional nano cap, because the traditional nano cap is not bad, it's not worse, and the Neo Pro is not better in any respect. The Neo Pro offers certain things that the standard nano cap is not doing, and vice versa. And that's actually a very, very good topic that I shall review. The only issue here is I need to have a room and a room mic or a studio. With the nano caps I can probably do it in the YouTube studio as well. Yeah, Uwe Volz is waiting for the Neo nano cap. And what else going on? Yeah, I was also thinking about comparing this to the Fat Cap, because the Neo Pro has the tendency to sit in between the standard nano cap and the Fat Cap. And me personally, I will still be the Fat Cap user, but I have more fun playing the nano cap Neo Pro as a Fat Cap guy versus the standard nano cap. And there are guys out there who prefer their nano caps, and I guess they will still love their classic nano cap as they are, because there's certain quality about original nano cap that can't be ignored. Yeah, so a real comparison would be very good. Let me put that down. I do it like here in my thing. Nano cap Neo Pro Fat Cap. Okay, got it. Okay, any more ideas on this? I don't know. So here's another idea. Maybe it's something that I have done before in a way, but I was thinking about it again. the different pedal boards. I know amp1 is a pedal amp and it ends up on pedal boards, and there's people who have pedal boards that are way too complicated, I believe, and there's people that have pedal boards that are quite simple. And maybe I should do an episode again with the 3-4 criteria of amp1 as a pedal board amp, like the puristic setting, the remote one setting, the one control setting, a MIDI setting, blah blah blah. That's something. Then I'm still searching for somebody who is the Les Paul nerd. Like me, being the Strat guy, I would love to have a guy that does everythh with a Les Paul, because I would like to have a challenge between the Stratocaster versus Les Paul, and to actually see how flexible both guitars can be and how convincing the sounds can be using those two different guitars. If you know the Les Paul guy of them all, let me know and I will try to contact him or her and see if somebody would be up for a Strat versus Les Paul challenge. Okay, here's a question. Mario Stracuzzi, hello Mario. After the release of AMPX, would there be an FR glue cap? I started with some experiments and I believe that this will take a long time to get something right, because at this point I'm still not convinced about FR. I'm losing too much of the basic foundation of the guitar tone with all the solutions I have seen. My first experiment was kind of promising, but I don't want to do it fast. I will look into this thing because I know also what I have seen from ECAR Multimedia or from ToneX. They make a full range cabinet with a mid-push button or control. For me, not the level I would use things. It is amateur level for me. Maybe fine for some guys, but I couldn't play with that. Of course I could play with that, but I would hate it. Sorry guys. Even if your profile or capture is called Dumble or the most expensive amp, or it would be the amp1, and they sound not bad, but they feel like shit, in my opinion. And therefore this kind of project needs to be done right. But the first thing that needs to be done right is AMPX. But let me talk a bit about the live stream ideas a bit more. One more comment from Pedro Leal. AMP1 sounds glorious with a set of Fender Custom Shop Fat 50s. Well, if AMP1 doesn't sound good with a Strat or any kind of that, I don't know, because I'm a Strat guy and it sounds great with Strats and Les Pauls and other guitars, but if it doesn't sound good with a Strat, I have no idea. There must be something wrong. Okay. Okay. There are ideas about doing something Joe Satriani. There's idea about doing something, as I said, Andy Timmons is already done from the list because that's recorded. A very nice interview with him we had at the booth at the NAMM show. So he was on my wish list, and Satriani is the next one, but this might take a bit more time. Then there is something I would like to talk about one day, is the odds and sods of guitars, like scallop fingerboards, stainless steel frets, the different type of whammy bars. Is that something that you guys would love to hear? Then let me know. Seitenschuft, we are still in the modeling discussion here. uh, writes, profiles cannot reach the real amp sound. I do agree, maybe for a listener, but not for a player. That's my comment here. Aha, V. Noir. Yes, nickel versus stainless steel frets would be great. Yeah, I thought about all these things that are out there, and you know, I have played stainless steel frets on my 61 Strat for a lot of years because they last longer, but I went back for the other ones, and I should maybe do an A-B comparison, have like two guitars that are almost identical and then have one guitar changed. I do have a few blue guitars that I can't sell because they're too good. Maybe I find two, and then I have one refretted. Let's see. That might be an idea. Or make a video before and make a video after with exactly the same settings. But I would be interested also how this affects the tone and the feel. Then I do have Les Paul bridges. It's another topic. There is this guy Schwarz from Germany who gave me an ABR1 bridge, and it is still, I haven't done the AB, but I know how critical that is because I put an original 60s ABR1 bridge on my gold top, which improved the tone a lot. So I know how critical the hardware on a Les Paul is, and I would love to double check his bridge versus the original real deal Les Paul bridge that I have. Okay. The AC/DC is coming back to Germany this year. Well, tell Angus he's always invited. But from what I heard, he is not living too far from Germany. I heard he is living in the Netherlands, kind of close to the Ruhrgebiet. Yeah, I'm a big fan of AC/DC. I'm not sure if maybe I should see them because I've never been at a live concert of AC/DC. I mean, it is the incarnation of rock. It is the rock band of the rock bands. Let's see. Thanks for the hint. Aha, David knows it's Alton. So look it up in the map and say hello to Angus from Alton. Okay, to hear Pedro writes, it would be interesting to hear AMP1 with a Gretsch type guitar too. Yes, actually I do have recorded a couple of Gretsch guitars with AMP1s. Check out The World of Vintage Guitars. It's a YouTube channel, The World of Vintage Guitars, and then simply type in Gretsch or whatever guitar you want to hear, because that's a YouTube channel of #1 Guitar Center Hamburg in Germany, and I was the host playing all the beautiful original vintage guitars they have in their shop, and I think there's about 100 videos out there, and I do remember some Gretsches where there. I'm not a Gretsch expert, but I remember I had a Gretsch expert in one of these episodes, The World of Vintage Guitars. Check it out. And of course it's all AMP1. I do have a Fender and a Marshall also there, but I rarely used it. In some episodes I went through all the 3 amps, and then you can hear the difference between the amps too, but AMP1 is so much more practical and always sounded so good that I most of the time just use the AMP1 for everything. Okay. Something is going on. I don't know what's going on in the chat. So, do you have other topics? I mean, I have tons of topics written down. For instance, the typical thing is perfect sound in the band or in a mix. Everybody dials in his tone at home, in the living room, with no other instruments, and then it sounds great, and then you come to the rehearsal room and it's a disaster. You don't hear yourself, and the rest of the guys is also not happy. And I would like to make a few examples how to get out of the EQ trap and other things. So that's something, how to improve your connection with the guitar in a band situation. If you only play at home, whatever makes you happy, but if you are in a live band situation, I think I can give you some more advice and hints. Then I have another idea about relic guitars. How much voodoo, how much vintage is there actually? Does it affect the thing? I don't know. Then I have another topic is Squire guitars, especially the early ones that saved the life of Fender. So the Squire JV series. Let me see the chats here again. Yeah, sound comparison of different cables. Thank you. Cheap versus expensive, and sometimes expensive doesn't even sound better. Trust me, guys. Very good topic. I probably did something like that in the past, but you know, it's time to revisit the whole thing more scientifically, and of course there's more cables out there. If you have specific cables that you want me to check, write it in the comments. You can also write it in the comments afterwards when the stream is closed. I will go through all your comments and then subtract the ideas. But that's a good one, very good one. Thanks, cables, because cables, they make such a huge difference. We all pay for expensive gear, guitars, amps, and then you have a shitty cable. But there are also affordable cables that sound good. Not everything good needs to be expensive. Cheers. Somebody is happy to get the one control. Okay guys, this is good news. The one controls are on the way from our mass manufacturing, which means we will have one controls in the future. The first delivery is on its way. I have seen the emails flying, and there will be more coming, and there should not be a big shortage like we did have at the beginning. Because at the beginning these were the German handmade ones, and now we have proper manufactured one controls. So it took way too long, but that's another topic. That's what I would like to change in the organization of BluGuitar. Seitenschuft says D-Flex is a good tool for playing in the band. Exactly, I have a D-Flex as well. Been using Klotz cables and Neutrik for a long time. Yes, there are some beautiful cables out there. And here's the very good point, cables versus wireless. Yep, that's also a good question. And compare the noise floor, compare the dynamics, compare the high end, compare the warmth. Very good, thank you. That's a good topic. Okay, So this was the one point. I give you more ideas. I'm thinking about. So Squire guitars. Of course, I had 3 Squires in my teenage years, and I had to sell them all for my 61 Strat. So everybody knows I did not regret it, but the point is they are still good, and yeah, we should look into these guitars. Then I have another idea about stomp boxes. You know, there is a clone, and there is this whatever red one, the KTR clone for 800, and then there's the Behringer clone for, I don't know, 50 or 80 bucks. And is it really worth to buy the expensive one, or is some of the cheaper clones a similar or as good solution? In that case, I've done the test. No, unfortunately, because it looks really cool, but there might be other clones that do the job. Of course, I have to gather a lot of clones from the different manufacturers, but then I would love to do that. If you have other pedals and like the cheapo version of the same iconic pedal that I should A/B and give you my opinion on it, I would be happy. We all know there are tube screamers out there, and Behringer has one. I bought that. It's actually not that bad. So that's the thing about pedals. Which pedals are worth the esoteric, expensive version, and which pedals are just as good in the cheap version, and maybe also depending on what you want from this pedal. If you just want a tight low end for metal, I don't think you need the 1980s clone PCB revision board A or whatever. My mobile phone. Still okay. Maybe an episode about MIDI. Yes, I spoke about that with some basic and of course especially guitar related tips and tricks. Yes, I will do a MIDI thing with MIDI in the way of troubleshooting, and therefore we will have maybe an introduction that shows what is used or what MIDI is used for in the guitar system, which is program changes and control change commands generally, and all the other things like MIDI tempo and clock and stuff is very esoteric, and I would not like to go into this because I'm not a fan of these overcomplicated MIDI systems. Keep that in your MIDI device and keep it simple with the rest of the system is my answer to that already. But okay, Maxon OD808, yeah, so here we go. That's a pedal, and of course some people even prefer the Maxon over the Ibanez. Well, AMP1 and HX effects, I think we already had 1 or 2 episodes about that, because I do have a board like that, which is actually currently with Ali Neander, who played a tour with it and had my board exactly like his board, like a spare board. Maybe I ask Ali if he wants to join in, or when I get my board back. But this could be a nice thing to revisit, AMP1 and HX effects, because it's used by many people and it's working just fine. Ollie P writes, I would like to remind that a part of his tone is coming from the wireless system and not using a cable. That's correct. And I had a nice meeting with Phil Solodellas, who has done the best replicas of the wireless in a pedal and the tower and things. And yeah, he just gave me the micro pedal. It is actually in the apartment. It's not here, but I have it with me here in Jamaica. I mean, it's a mini pedal. I can easily bring it back home. So I have that. I have the full-sized version, and I have somebody with a tower, and that can also go into the AB comparison line with wireless, other wireless, and cables. Good point. Very good. So what else do we have here? Let me see if the stream is still going, which is good. Wait a minute. Fishman triple play is a great solution for anything middle. Okay. Okay, good hint. I will check that out. I mean both. Can you do another episode with Gundi Keller? Yes, why not? Gundi, let's see if he has time to do an episode. I'm always happy to see Gundi. Yeah, that would make sense and fun. Any Russian brand of pedals that we don't know about yet? There is what is the company? AT, I think that's a Russian company that's pretty smart, but not that many. But here was another idea that I had on my endless list of live stream ideas. Somewhere, scrolling down. I would like to make a comparison about German amps. There's Dietzel, there's Kettner, there's Engel, there's BluGuitar. There's a bunch of German amp companies on the market. American amps, there's Fender, there's whatever, Friedman, Soldano, those boutique guys. But actually thinking about them, not that many as you think. And there are a lot of UK brands like Marshall, Orange, Vox, etc. And I would like to make an episode that shed some light on the different countries and the different brands and how they are typically German and not so typically German versus typically British or typically US. I think that would be a nice topic, talking about countries. So, which is my favorite overdrive pedal in front of the vintage channel from AMP1? Actually, I have several. I cannot. Let me brainstorm about it and why. The simplest way is using the boost because that's already a pedal, and I like that. The next thing would be the Replex. The Replex is that tube tape echo pedal from Hughes and Kettner, which has no real tape, but the sound of it. And there is a tube stage, which is magic in combination with my Stratocaster. If you play a Les Paul through it, it's too muddy, but it's making my Strat sound so big, just like a Les Paul, and makes it sound like $3,000 more. So maybe that's my favorite pedal to answer this question. But the 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 vintage channel takes pedals so well. You can combine it with tube screamers, clones, whatnot. They all work fantastic. But that's the thing. What is missing in the signal chain with your, or SD1 is also another great pedal there. But it all depends on what you have in mind. Do you want a more, depending also on what's the quality of your guitar, what is missing. So to give that guitar extra mids, use a tube screamer. To give that guitar extra clarity, use a clone, blah blah blah, something like that. This is how I would describe it. But that's, yeah. Vintage channel and pedals, it's magic. And there's another thing. I think I have to make a few sounds with the AMP1 that you don't know, using the low gain mode slash the one control and dialing in, like the zero gain on the vintage channel. It is the sound of some boutique amps, and most people don't believe it's coming out of the AMP1 as it is, but it is coming out of. Okay. My first amp, Siemens Radio tube with aux input. Yes, my first tube amp also was a Siemens Tischverstärker with tubes, EL84s, if I remember correctly. Thomas, what do you think about GL Legacy USA? If you're talking about George and Leo guitars, I only know that the older G&L guitars were killer. I have to look exactly into GL Legacy USA, what that is. Okay, some German comments here. Yeah, we are old. Well, we are old, but I think we are a happy generation, enjoying life, and what we can actually enjoy is playing music. Those youngers, they get bored because they only listen to music, and there's no real interaction with themselves. So be lucky to be generation us. Here's one. Custom one, somebody writes here. That brings me back to the, I should also explain a little bit more about the custom controls on the AMP1 one day. I know it's maybe, oh yeah, there's the custom controls and you can dial here and there, but I probably should give you a deeper information what I was intending to have on all the extremes and how they sound. Of course, we just set them to taste, but there are deeper thoughts behind it, which I could demonstrate and explain. Maybe that helps too. The next thing that I want to mention is, I know, talking about our generation, nobody is metal, including myself, but I think it's also interesting for our generation to learn a little bit about metal. Wait a minute, I just was writing, oh man, too many ideas. Where's my notes on this? So I was on the beach and I was thinking about, we have Emanuel Knorr coming up next week, and this will be the day when I'm traveling home, so I can't do a live stream, and I'm sitting on the plane. The thing is, I pre-recorded a live stream with Emanuel Knorr, and we will use that very long thing as the intro, and we even started to write a song together. One of my very old tunes from my which I recorded for my first solo record, but didn't put it there. It was on the 21st Century Guitar album. I asked him to extend the whole thing with a metal version and use my thing in the middle, and we both had a very rough go on it. I have no clue how this will end up, because he will finalize the whole thing himself, but he knows what I had in mind, my vision of it. I think that song, it's called The Late Show, is a good example how to make something through decades, because already back in the days in 1993 when I recorded it, it had a flashback to the 60s with some Hank Marvin, and it was like a 90s rock riffing, and my solo melodic guitar and things like that. And so there was already several decades of music styles in that version, and now Emmanuel will expand this to modern metal on top of what I have done. I'm curious to hear the results. I will only get those when I'm home, so you might see it first. And here's the point. So we recorded a live stream about what is the thing with Mercury edition and Iridium edition for metal and rock, and he is a younger guy that started with the metal and discovered the classic rock and more after coming from that side. So he started with an Iridium, playing in metal bands and things like that, but then had many jobs playing standard rock guitar and pop things and more. And then he discovered how great it is to play Mercury edition, and then we had an open discussion on both amps, on all the styles and things, and I think that's fantastic. And so this will be the first part of next week's live stream, and on this live stream we will have a second part where he will take you in the details of the metal thing a bit more, but still having the connection to the traditional sounds, which I like a lot. So that's good. And while laying on the beach, I had, of course, more ideas about the connection of metal and classic rock. I was thinking about what did I actually know about metal, and when did metal come into play? I remember there was Ozzy Osbourne, but for me this was always rock music, and Black Sabbath was this metal, and at some stage they called some Deep Purple songs heavy metal, and then there was hair metal, but this was rock to me. So I would like to do an episode with him on the evolution of rock music into metal and the transition and where we are now and things, that kind of thing. And then there's tons of topics that I would like to understand. I mean, from the live style, what is cool as being a rock guy, and what is totally not cool being a rock guy in the metal world, and vice versa. I mean, for me, some of the metal cats, they go and have their lousy pants. I mean, I have my beach pants like this here. This is like what they would wear, and then with their attitude, and the rock guys with their cowboy boots and things like that. So I have tons of ideas and things, from lifestyle to pickups to guitars to amp settings, where we actually could talk about both worlds and understand more what's going on and what we can learn from the other world. Because I have to admit, I will never be the metal fan except for a few great songs, because there is great music in every genre, even in techno, I have to admit. And this is another episode because some of my friends that I was working with in my early 20s and teenager days, they went famous being in the techno scene. And it's so funny. We're still in contact, and they, one of the guys from Shade, maybe you never heard them, was visiting me the other day, and I said, hey, if Walter, the other guy, is in town, we should do a live stream about the things in the past. We have such funny stories to tell you, and this would be killer. So, and there's my stories from the past, talking about this song that Emmanuel Knorr is now working on. I tried to get a like a playback version, and so I called the engineer from back in the days when we recorded it, and I forgot about all the details. He told me the story again when my Marshall was catching fire. I was looking through the recording room and saw this smoky, smelly room, and I could feel that, well, the power was not in, the amp was already burning, so I had to open it and throw it out in the garden and things like that. He came back with all the stories. Unfortunately, this guy, who remembers all the details because he was the recording engineer on all these sessions, even with the techno guys that I was just referring to, he is a little shy, but he was so good. Let me see if I should convince him, because he has, I forgot about all these details, but he knows every fucking details. He told me the drop in on this song, and the memories come back. Anyway, so I'm getting excited about my past, which also gives you the hint that I'm old. But there's nothing wrong about that. Okay. So guys, what's going on? Any comments? Have you listened to the Star Club live recording? Early punk rock, yeah. Well, there's Kuno in Hamburg, who owned the Star Club for a while, and he was there. He was there in the 60s. Beatles. I don't think I ever heard all the Beatles songs. Yeah, Beatles wrote so many in this little time. Unbelievable. I think it's simply unbelievable. So, if you do have more questions on products, if you want me to review them, please let me know. If you have topics, please let me know. Yeah, I have a thing that comes to mind. The twin guitar thing, because I'm doing this band with Ben Grenfeld, Blue Grenfeld Ringelin, and we will have more gigs, and we should do an episode about twin guitar playing, because that's also a thing. Sometimes it sounds like harmony and it's not. There are things we can unveil. Then there's things about what we can. I would like to explain a little bit more about the technology at BluGuitar, because when I was at NAMM, I was thinking, wow, there's companies very traditional, being all tube, old school, or there's modeling, and there's now even the new Moore whatever 390 that does the capturing. So there's tubes, or there is digital modeling, and in between there's not that much. And what most people don't get is that what BluGuitar is doing is a very unique way of looking at technology, and a very unique way of creating sounds, and I find it very interesting and fascinating to do that. And we yeah, I think we are kind of alone doing it, and I'm sometimes even shocked that I mean there's Quilter, and Quilter is a US company with some pedal amps. They came from PAs, but now they have some modeling thing. Yeah, I mean for you guys it's the knobs and the features and the sounds, but for me it's more what's underneath the hood and what's creating the sounds, and why is this feeling like that and not like that. And I think the unique technology of a BluGuitar could be another episode we can talk about. Well, tons of things. So, are there any more ideas from your side? Let me check in the comments. Come on. No, it's there. Enjoy vacation. Zuschauen, etwa nothing. Zen. Okay. Okay, cable discussion. Remember to always hug a musician. They never get to dance. Yep. Have you tried KMO guitar? No. Young guitar builder from Berlin. But yes, he doesn't make vintage guitars. Okay, I have to get hands on one of those guitars, then I can tell you more about it. If you are connected with the guy, tell him I would be interested. He can contact me, send me one, and I check it out. Yeah. People think it's digital, it is IR. Yeah. Quilter is not that great. Yep, I agree. I mean, if I had real competition, I would actually go and invite them for a beer. But still to this point, I'm shocked that the industry is not able to be a real competition. Hughes and Kettner used to be the only company because Bernd Schneider was the only guy that I worked together with, and we both shared the same vision and knowledge. And this is unfortunately gone with his passing. And he would be retired now and work for BluGuitar, because we were still big buddies even after I split. And there's not so many guys out there working at companies doing innovative analog stuff. Which is not saying that Diesel is not making great amps, that Engel is not making great amps. Yes, they are, but they are more or less tube guys, which is good because they are still creating amp designs at the highest level. But we try to do it without the tubes, and this is the big point. What I learned at NAMM, everybody played the AMPX and got addicted to it because it sounded good, and what was even more, it felt like wow. Every guy, Andy Timmons, Eric Steckel, you have seen the videos, you will see all the videos. It's like they would not stop playing the AMPX. Why? Because it feels so good. And probably you wouldn't have the same thing with your Tone X1. I would be interested to hear your opinion on the Electro Harmonix POG3 Octaver. Roughly, I'm not an Octaver guy, but I think this is a pretty cool pedal. It is one of those special pedals. Good that you bring it up. I should revisit that. Thanks for the thing. Maybe an episode about sustain, controlled feedback and power amp saturation. Yes, that's a good point as well, because who would be Carlos Santana without having a feedback? Carlos without Santana, or Santana without Carlos. The feedback is 50%. The endless notes. Yeah, let's talk about that and what is needed. And as I could demonstrate it, I even get it with strats at talking volume. If there is some right overdrive gain stacking, including power amps saturation engaged. Somebody, Oli P says, going straight into the mixing console with a Neve preamp. Of course, there's tons of great sounds being recorded straight into mixing consoles. That's David Gilmour and a lot of other guys. Zuta amps, yeah. The Zuta guy is a clever and smart amp designer. I think from Sweden or Scandinavia, maybe somebody knows. Nice guy. I met him at Summit first, and I met him at NAMM again. Yes, but this guy is one of the most innovative amp guys out there these days. Yeah, my kudos. Yeah, Frank, you can still hear me coughing. That's the next thing. I'm having this kind of for such a long time. It was heavy in Germany, it disappeared, it came back, and then it was gone again. And now, being on vacation, it came back. But this climate here is the best to get rid of it. And now I finally have the feeling when I'm home that I'm 100% recovered. I hope so. Oh, Frank, writing a lot of things. I'm getting healthy. This is why I'm on the beach in a second. Don't worry. How does the 4WM, what is it, the 4-way method, AD? I mean, this is analog digital conversion. All I'm saying is there is nothing wrong with analog digital conversion as reduce it to the minimum, and then you have the best quality. That's my... the question was affect the sound and the latency. Well, it certainly affects the latency, because any conversion is taking time by nature. A little bit depending on the algorithm, it's a millisecond, maybe two, one way, unless it's what we are doing on the Blue Box, which is a dirty special solution which goes down to 0.6 milliseconds. The standard value is 1 millisecond, 1.2, something like that. One way. So if you have analog to digital, there's your 1 millisecond or 1.2. Then you have to go back to analog to hear it again, because digital signals you can't hear. So there's your second one, which adds up to, let's say, 2.4, 2.5 milliseconds. That's not a problem. But in the world today, there are so many more digital devices, and they will add up the latency, and that everything more will disconnect you from the guitar strings compared to going direct, fully analog. So that is the latency thing. With 4 times, you have already then more than 10 milliseconds, and that's 6 milliseconds. I was talking about 4 times 1.2. But I can feel that other people get used to it. It's like food. If you grew up on real good food from your grandmother, it tastes different than your maybe also tasty processed food with a lot of artificial flavors and things, but I prefer the organic stuff, and I prefer the organic quality. When it comes to dynamic, also there is, of course, a slightly, it all depends also on the analog digital converters and the electronics used with these, because the chip itself is one quality component that defines quality, but the way it's used is sometimes horrible. Sometimes I see products with great converters but with a lousy way. But this is the same thing like you buy a tube amp, the tube doesn't know what is around the tube, and so if the design is lousy, even the best tube will sound shit. And that's the same with an analog digital converter. So that's the thing. Let me see what's going on here. Could you test that with a modular due to the AD conversion, a single feedback like AMPX, which is so awesome? Is it up? I can compare this. Let me get a little bit more done on the AMPX, and then I can show you some AB versus modulars. The moment you play an AMPX, discussion is over. It's very simple. Trust me, I have seen Andy Timmons, I have seen everybody plugging in had that reaction. Okay, the other thing that I will think about being here on vacation is, of course, the BluGuitar company, team, and things and processes, how to organize and optimize those. One thing is Blugipedia is our knowledge base. I'm very happy that it does exist, but I want to improve as much as possible, because that is the source of information, of quality information, 24/7 for everybody. And I think these days even the best dealers don't have the people with the knowledge anymore, because either there's too many products, or they are too busy, or it's hard to find the best information. And I want to give the good information a home with Blugipedia. So if you guys have an idea of how to improve Blugipedia, let me know. I have my own thoughts, but again, if you have ideas what you want to see over there, and what I should, or we as a team should make different would be appreciated. I want to optimize this kind of service. I see it as an after-sales service. Okay, this is me, the business guy, after-sales service. The next thing we are also trying to do is changing our sales strategy towards maybe some more direct sales, which does not mean that I will exclude any dealer, but I don't like dealers that sell on price. BluGuitar should have the same price everywhere, at your local dealer, at our web shop, and we should not think about price. And I will dump dealers that will not be in line with what we want for our products. And I can only afford that when we are strong enough by selling direct, and that will help the culture and will make sure that there's still a margin or money to be made for everybody involved in the whole thing, which is necessary. Otherwise, we will lose the quality of the shops. Otherwise, we will lose the quality from our side for the support. We should not go there, and therefore I want to, well, I'm thinking about how to change things towards that direction. Because I want the budget to develop, design, and produce the best possible quality for you guys. And if somebody is undermining that, it's taking away of what I believe should not simply be. It's a game for other companies and other business guys, but not for us. So, last comments over here. Some EBO test. Okay, I do have a very old EBO, which, remembering my techno friends, I used it on some of their recordings back in the last century. I used it live with the Rainbirds, and then it's somewhere at home. I have no clue what happened in the meantime, if there's any new EBOs and better ones. Yeah, but let's see EBOs. That's interesting topic. At least I have a vintage one. If they are any good, I have no idea. Would be nice to recheck. I have to check at a dealer who has a couple of EBOs, so I have some stuff to compare. Hardy O, could the headphone out of AMPX even have 2 less latency? Normally a cap is at least 2 or 3 meters away, what gives us 6 to 9 milliseconds by nature. Well, the headphones of AMPX will use the internal digital blue box, which gives you at least 1 millisecond of latency, I guess. And I think that so far it sounds pretty good to my ears. I'm not complaining about too little latency there, and definitely not about too much, because it's very, very low. So I don't think this is a topic, but you brought it up. Let's double check it, but I don't see any issues there. It's a theoretical thing, but for me it sounds good. I mean, it sounds good because it's also stereo reverb and things like that. And of course you can load your own IRs in there, and when you do your own IRs you can add a little silence at the beginning and add some latency. But don't do that. That's just nitpicking. I sometimes use my EBO on acoustic guitar. Right on. Why not? I have played in the Rainbirds and they were throwing table tennis balls into a grand piano. That is art. Okay. Okay guys, I think I'm good to go to the beach before that beautiful day is over here. Yeah. I will see you in 2 weeks live, and next week you will see me with Emanuel Knorr, at least for an hour together, and then he's taking over. And it was quite an interesting one, including some playing and things. So yeah, I'm looking forward to watch that myself. And as I told you, there's a lot of more things in the pipeline. One more thing, if somebody has, especially if it's possible in Germany, but I would take any other expert as well, a 335 guy. You know, I have done this series of the most iconic Strat sounds and the super Strat tones and the Les Paul tones and blah blah blah. And the 335 never gets enough love. And I do have a good one, I know that. I am proud to have been used that guitar a lot in the studio, but I never played it live. So what I want is a guy that I could team up with to make the 335 story. If you have one, let me know in the comments. And here's, I'm just going back to my live stream ideas. The German luthiers. When we stayed at the NAMM show, we were sharing our huge Airbnb 2-house apartments with 3 companies: BluGuitar, me and Valeska, then Klopman Electrics pickups, and Nick Huber. And of course, I was talking to Nick, you know, in the evenings and in the mornings sometimes. And I would also like to make a portrait on his Nick Huber guitars, and I need to make a portrait about Jörg Tandler, who I have 2 or 3 guitars that he built, and of course there's Boris Domanger, who builds guitar for Uli John Roth and the Scorpions, and so there will be a series of German guitar luthiers, or one episode with them all, but I guess I have to split them up because it's too much information. Anyway, so tons of ideas. Please let me know what you want so I can read the comments later on and put this on my list, and then I can prepare live streams for the rest of the year. There's tons of topics, but some of the topics need a lot of time to prepare because I need to get in contact with people. I have to arrange, you know, shipments of gear or stuff like that, so it doesn't come natural. And tomorrow I put my guitar back together. And by the way, this was a funny one. When I came to the NAMM show, I had to readjust the truss rod a lot because NAMM was so dry. I mean, I know the reason for the wildfires. I had to buy lipstick for my lips, and I had to buy some oil for my skin because California was so dry. Any spark will make anything burn. Here, Jamaica, there's like humidity of 60 or 80%. Oh, let's actually see. So what's the humidity here? 70%. Let's see how that guitar sounds when it's put together and if it needs another readjustment. I only know guitars that I traveled with, they sound better afterwards, even if I take them apart. My theory is because they have seen different climates, the wood has worked this way and the other way. And like my 61 Strat, I have never to change anything anymore. It can be frozen, it can be cooked, I can go with it in the sauna, and it stays in tune. So my theory is the more a guitar or the wood of a guitar has to work, the better it is for the life afterwards. For me, the musician, because it sounds better and stays better in tune. Okay guys, I think this was my last statement, last comment. When old guitar necks reps, yeah, ring that neck, ring that neck. Yeah, see, my fingers still know where to go, but I have no strings on it. Okay, I practice air guitar then. See you guys, see you soon, and I'm getting rid of my shitty flu, coughing, whatever thing here. Cheers, bye bye. So, switch off. I can give you the last beautiful view from here. There's little dog. Wanna see the doggy? Doggy, 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 dog. Okay, little hire car. And now off to the beach. Where is off live? Stop. Let's